In a few minutes. Hi y'all, welcome to our Sunday club meeting. We're just setting up right now, but everyone's here in the barn. Hopefully it'll be a little more steady this time around since I have a tripod. I'll angle it so we can see Miss Erin and Steve, who's doing good thumbs. Agenda. This is what we're chatting about today. So hang tight and we'll get started in a few minutes. The Tyler store, I guess, has the paint codes. Yes.
So you have to call.
I think you have the phone number. There's a PPG Tyler, and if they know the serial number of your tiny home, then they can get you all the paint codes for Platinum Cottages. So that's for you too for the tumbleweed. If you ever need new paint. But one of our contractors said if you get a paint swatch, you should be able to match it pretty closely.
Yeah.
Worst case scenario.
Yeah.
Yay! All right, we've got the live stream going. 10. Oh yeah, we're gonna wait. We're gonna wait for sure. The party has kind of started, and it's also kind of not started. Banners. Great.
Okay.
This is Rebecca. So we'll take it to the early 1900s. Woo! That'll help us get our historic marker. Oh my gosh, Austin's getting swallowed. Yeah. Super crazy. But at least we're able to preserve and steward this land, keep it in alignment with the original intention. Because the house does have little tiny homes outside, like with their daughter. So it's kind of funny that it became a tiny home community. They were doing it before tiny homes were even cool. I'm sorry. Do you need the checklist? Maybe we can do a mini overview and then take it outside. Yeah. Okay.
Let's go.
Your hair looks nice. Oh, thank you. Got that volume. Boom, boom. Oh, I rolled it the first time. Call your name. All right. I think it's the program where you have your community fee. So I think your phone number set up to become a new resident. But I don't have access to that program, which is why nobody's getting texts. I need to basically just hijack the login for Loma Vista and Oak Forest and figure it out. But I did do email blasts. So, but I know not everyone does emails. So I'm curious. Yeah. Email. Thank you. Everybody else is
If you want to get a hold of me fast, read my email. Reply today.
Not a lot of people have the notification set up on their
Oh
phone.
yeah, definitely. Don't. It's a scam.
Yes.
You notify it.
Yeah. You might want to sit on that. But I'm not doing or you can put on the lawnmower.
The other one,
There's the idea. That's a way better idea. Yeah. We're live. We've got 8 guests watching right now. If y'all want to join our email list, it's bfcares@robertscommunities.com. We will be setting up texting so we can be like, guess what? We're doing the install today at the Bergstrom Farm House. Come on out. We need 30 people. Well, hopefully we'll have more notice than that. Hello. Thank you. We might take it outside after we start if y'all are willing to stay. Yeah, she owns that whole side.
And Lynn's coming in right now.
Awesome.
Okay. I'm curious, how many people have had one vaccination? How many have had 2? Okay, we're getting there. Okay.
For us, we had to wait for the VA.
Oh, the VA. Oh, yeah.
Yep, so we're second for our first one.
Hey. All right. Hey. Hey, come on, you don't have a seat or over there, one or the other. Oh.
Loving the spiral garden.
I know, man. I think Scotty and both of you need a round of applause. Really, really good job. And that was a lot of manual labor, taking soil from the far side of the farm, trucking it over there. The great thing is that soil is where the pigs live for years. So it's really, really rich soil. But I mean, nothing.
Didn't quite get the broadcast. I said, yeah, don't trouble.
We saw that again. Get the rocks out, man.
That's really play. Yeah, that's like a little bit of broadcast.
So I just wanted to give a quick check-in about the farm. I think you probably noticed that it's floating. And then we'll go over it real quick. We don't want to spend too much time on the meeting because we're going to do some hands-on stuff. And also, I don't want to take time away from our special guest, Rebecca Dunn, who is the Bergstrom relative who has designed the landscaping for the farmhouse. Is this the first guest? Yeah. So, we're just going to get started. So as far as what's going on in the farm right now, our spring CSA has started. We're doing flower shares and vegetable shares. The farm stand is open Saturday.
We're about 3 weeks behind.
Better late than never.
So we'll be 3 weeks ahead very soon. Butter keeps up like this. We will be having tomatoes probably in about 2 to 3 weeks.
We have our people on together.
I can't sit like this.
No, I'm saying stand. All right. Oh.
Up in the 80s and no rain, and we really need a lot of prayers because all the farmers everywhere are just, and the bugs are you to thought all over the field. They go underground.
We're really worried. We're having a grasshopper explosion at the other farm in a way that we haven't before. So it's kind of alarming. So we're a little stressed. Harvey farming always.
Yeah. So that said, we have some great crops that are, the project did well. We had spinach and all the shares the last 4 weeks, and spinach has survived the cold. We also the onions look really terrible. We thought we were gonna lose them all. We're gonna go out there and harvest some.
Everybody go come with an onion today.
They're really big, 10, 15 onions. They're ready. So, it's all up in about 3 weeks. I'll take like this to this. Out. The garlic we pulled out, it was getting too wet, and it's up there. And maybe next time we could test dry out the ground. Some of you can go up there and break some of it. And sell it that way as like 6 or 7 to a. They're a lot bigger than this. But as you know, I think I told you last time, these are really strong Texas Roja garlic that take 6 months to grow, and obviously it just didn't get enough fertilizer or water, but they are really intense. Worth opening up.
Cool. So garlic braiding in our future.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
And then we'll go out and there. The tomatoes. I'm going to show you the big job around here is to keep the tomatoes relevant. And about every 2 or 3 weeks, they grow their foot. Another line has to be woven through them. So we just started that today.
We call that French weed.
French weed, yeah. French weed.
And then in our hoop houses at the other farm, we used to trellis them from the ceiling. So there's lots of different ways.
So we'll show you those 2 things. And then, has anyone looked at the potatoes we planted? So remember, they were
The ones that he planted, I've seen.
these, that was just left inside that bed there. And already there's enough sunlight in there that it's
In the dark,
in the dark shed.
Oh my
I hear the roots. So this is what's there, but now some of them are this tall.
Oh.
Some of them are this tall. And there's the green. And here's the garlic. Part of the garden. But like Aaron said, we are lost if we.
Yes, so anyone who wants to come and weed, you're always welcome. I put up here the volunteers are welcome Wednesdays, Saturdays 9 to 1, and we're also open to other times. So it would be good to know, to have a consensus for maybe another time. I'm curious how many people would be interested in doing some weeding after work, like after 5. Okay, all right, great. Yeah, I mean, you're like this. Yeah.
I know where the weeds are. I can find them. Even if y'all aren't here.
So maybe if we extended Wednesdays, maybe if we did Wednesday evenings, because it's in the middle of the week. Is that nodding? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so we'll look into doing maybe 5 to 7 on Wednesdays as well. All right, so just a quick overview of what we're going to cover. Today we're going to talk about farmhouse gardens. Rebecca's going to give us an update about the pocket gardens that are going to go in around the neighborhood. He told you some of the things he's talking about. I think that once we're done in here, we should go see what was accomplished in permaculture garden and then talk about next steps. Also, an update on orchards. And we still need someone to do admin, to take notes for these meetings. I can't talk and write. So we need someone to volunteer.
I can't turn on my laptop.
You already have a notepad.
I'm looking at it right now.
You are hired. Also, I wanted to point out that I'm that anyone is welcome to listen to. We're all on the garden and work together, and so we don't have a system for checking these things out yet. But if ever you're here, you're more than welcome to look through these books. I don't know if you all are familiar with this Travis County Master Gardener Guide, but I think this is one of the best books available. It's so simple, yet it tells you by month what's going on, in the natural world, what needs to be planted, and it's a really good first step if you're new to gardening. So this is always good. Okay, so why don't we get started with our just like that.
I'll push it closer so we get good audio. There we go. So I didn't know. So this is like
preliminary. So I did print out, think I have like 6 copies. There you are. So if you can share, let's see, so if I give 3 to this side and 3 to this side. Okay, so like I said, this is super, super preliminary. I did this pretty quickly. She's gonna make me stand on the X. Wait, go back. Okay. All right. I took some measurement. I took some measurements of the farmhouse, but to do this, I used an old plan. And while I was doing some check measure a while ago, the old plan is definitely not accurate. So a lot of this is going to change. And really, a lot of this has to do with kind of placement. So I wanted to tell you kind of an overall vision is that one of the ideas was to have a rose garden of heritage roses. So whatever roses would be in there, they would be heritage roses. Another, one of the things that Erin had talked about was having a cooking demo center. And so when Erin and I initially talked, Erin was thinking of putting it, I'm going to call it on the south side, which is, this side over here. But what I put on here is like a kitchen and herb garden because the south side is where you're going to get a lot of sun. And the other thing too was for the kitchen demo area, I wanted it to be pretty easily accessible when you walk out of the house instead of having to walk out the front door, go all the way around the little wing, and back in there. So that's why I kind of allocated the south space for like a kitchen herb garden. I put it now, and the shapes of this, they're going to change because I just put them in to kind of give you an idea. So in the back of the house, which is what you would call southeast, is where I put a rose garden. I do want to put like a little bird fountain in a circular area and maybe also have some herbs and some different things. And it would have like some little cafe tables, places for people to look and read and kind of have some solitude. And then on the north side is basically where I put that cooking center with some tables because it would also be a little bit shadier. And the other thing on that side is where the big porch wraps around. So people could also sit on the porch, have coffee. If they didn't want to sit out, if there's not enough shade, at different times that you have it, and people can sit on the porch and you can have some tables there.
I just want to jump in. We've been talking about putting an event space near that so that we can have music and performance because there's a little Bergstrom house next on that side
right here
over there. Yeah. And so that whole open lawn is a space that we want to turn into a gathering space.
Yeah, and so that was one of the other things. It's like kind of a wedding event center, which I haven't put on here because I just wanted to kind of get something on paper and see if you kind of like the allocation of spaces, not necessarily the format design, but just kind of where things are located, whether it's north, south, east, west, that kind of thing. So that so that has to be expanded. But like I said, let me see if there was something else that I wanted. Oh, and I also thought about, so within this, there would also be some smaller areas that are not designated right now, but some smaller areas to sit on a bench, or have a little table and stuff like that. So give me some feedback.
What is the ground cover?
Oh, okay. So kind of designated some, for now, some ground covers. So at the front here, I put like silver pony foot as a ground cover instead of grass, so you don't have maintenance. So that's just kind of an idea in this area. I mean, here's the initial sidewalk. I love decomposed granite. And you can put a sealer on it, and whether you get it in the gray or the gold actually lasts better in the rain. But you know, if you had a little area here, what I'd really like to do is like put a little directional thing, you know, just something fun in the middle. So the paths right now are decomposed ground. So anybody can get your shovels and your camper and, you know, dig and put the edging in and all that stuff. For the kitchen herb garden, I was thinking that that might be mulch or, you know, any other suggestions that you guys have. The flower beds or the planter beds are just, you know, good soil.
There's a few trees in there, so that'll be better.
And I just measured that there are some trees, and like this only shows like 25 feet. Well, when I just measured it, it's like 67.
Yeah.
You know, so there's a lot more space that will do a lot more, because where they had on the old plans where the hill kind of started dipping down was like at 25 feet. And obviously that. So this is going to grow, and then this will be, you know, the other thing about this is it'll be herbs, it'll be, you know, a mixture of flowers, but a lot more spaces to sit, you know, some corner areas, some round areas, different things like that. What that is, I just put like a row of lavender on it, you know, like on the hillside edge. No, it's just a row of lavender. Yeah, yeah. It's just kind of marking the edge of that hill before you start stepping down. Because I was thinking the hillside could be covered with rosemary, because it's a great ground cover. Well, yeah, and prostrate rosemary, it's great, and everybody can come pick it and make Italian food. So, and then some of this, and so now in the back in the rose garden, I was thinking about like crushed rock or pebbles with some stepping stones in between. But I mean, all of this can change, you know, if you guys have some different, you know, things that you want to use or suggestions. Part of it is just that designating the difference between your planter bed and your paths, and then what are your other choices for, you know, covering the ground and kind of keeping it moist, stuff like that. And then of course all of this I like drip. So everything would be on drip or no, not unless you want some.
How would people take different variables?
Well, we can use cedar, we can use vendor board, we can use some rock, you know, some larger rocks.
What does the maintenance look like for this? Do we just have the people who do our maintenance now, are they gonna be maintaining this, or is this all about growing it to? Okay.
That's garden
The initial tiny homes, they had gravel all through them, and there was no mulch layer underneath it, plastic mulch, and so the weeds, you know, come up inevitably, and that's a really hard job to weed. You got to do it by hand, and so either you gotta have to make it really thick, and that has downside. You got old trees there, and or you have to know that those people spray it. We don't want to do that.
Do you ever do a pre-emergent?
Well,
Go put your
we could, you know, if you all decide that's what you want, but you know, it can't be beyond here. That's all.
No.
This is certified. Actually, this part, because the house is not certified.
We're not gonna spray.
Yeah.
It's all great.
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
So that means though that the maintenance is the biggest part of this whole job. Keeping that, and Doc would like to be really clean and neat.
Yeah. Okay, so we have to meet the Scott standard, which everybody understands. But I do think that if we all kind of take a quadrant, or we choose our favorite thing, you know, maybe Dennis, you love lavender. I don't know. You know, I think that we can choose the parts that really speak to us and just steward that. And as we have more people coming, I mean, we still haven't really reached out to our other neighbors very well. And so we can get other bodies to help us.
And the thing is that, I mean, right now I have this pretty broad, but there can be a lot of areas that maybe are for sitting areas that are like the decomposed granite within the rock. And then of course, when you have things on drip, it's really only dripping that plant, so you do get less weeds. And also the thicker your mulch or the thicker your rock, the less weeds you're going to get. So if you really do it right and put like at least 3 to 4, I'd say 4 inches.
Well, and we've got a huge pile of wood chips that's been sitting for years. So, I mean, we've got plenty of chips. We're good.
And wood chips and pecan shells and stuff like that. I mean, you can probably get some of it donated, but the thicker you do it, then the less weeds you're going to have. But anyway,
Yeah, thank you. When you like in May, or how quickly could we pull this off?
I just need to you kind of need to pick an area that you want to start.
Oh, okay, so we'll do it at separate times.
I would think so.
I think that, so one thing that Skip has been working on is getting our summer local food intern. So we're going to have somebody who's going to be here all summer, and he wants to teach cooking classes. So he wants to bake it. It would be marvelous to put in the kitchen cutting guard first.
Okay.
So we can start getting those classes going.
Right, because for the cooking, you really just kind of need tables or you go inside or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think if we focus on that, that's good.
Do you want raised beds for that garden?
I mean, there could
Well,
be
you wouldn't have less weeds.
I would prefer in-ground stuff. Does anybody else care?
The only thing, like, a raise doesn't necessarily need to be fully raised.
That's
It could
true.
be- It's like, what I've done in my yard is I've got just one layer of stone
Right.
that it serves two purposes. It defines the space and then allows you to put in, just some really solid soil there. Makes it a little bit easier to reach it when
Yeah.
you're in.
Yeah.
And it's 6 inches.
I think what would be great,
Yeah, I
like
like the raised bed.
the limestone block we're using all around here,
Yeah.
and then, and not cement it in, so
Right.
this could be a movable piece.
Right,
It doesn't work, that's what I like about this plan, we're not putting in a lot of hard infrastructure that's literally, where it doesn't work.
Wouldn't that kind of also mirror the spiral garden too? So it would kind of bring that together and make it like a whole cohesive thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
And it really helps with the maintenance, so the weed whacker comes in there, because.
Right, that keeps them out of the growing area. And it does, and that stuff, I've used that a lot because, my husband thinks lawns are a great idea, and he's clearly wrong. And so we just start with, we put the stones where he thinks through the lawn, and then the next year I feel another 6 inches of yard. And,
Right.
That's
and
how
then,
you've been married 40 years.
but, it just gives you the freedom to do that. It's like, okay, we think we need a kitchen garden this big, and after a year, you're like, oh no, we need to add extra things.
Yeah, so flexibility.
Well, and it also defines the space where people walk, and stuff like that. So,
Why do we have to do this in Canada?
Kitchen or not. Channels.
true, right.
Yeah, I think
And
we'll have to do this in phases.
Just if we want to cheat a little with the phases, we might want to cheat with the kitchen and the entry to the house.
Yeah.
Just
Right. Yeah, the
because
entry.
that's going to be important for defining the space.
Yeah. So the entry.
So like, is it something good to think about, like, for learning purposes? If you did a combination of, the traditional route of planting in the earth, but maybe had some like raised beds to where you can utilize some learning opportunities about the historical aspects, but it could be something to think about for like teaching over there.
So what do you think?
I don't know, both raised beds and, because you can always go up because you have tons of sun. But and then if you're talking about drip, it's so easy to put a drip on there. It's very easy for maintenance, but it's a great dimming station to talk about all the historical aspects of it. Everybody can gather around one area. You have less traffic in the areas that don't need that.
Right.
Oh, and when we talked about putting our own historical markers on the
That's
property,
part of it.
So it's not, it's
Sorry guys, I had beans for dinner.
not, you know, on top of the market, but it would be something similar.
Do you want it like at the entrance?
Probably, yeah.
Do you want it like in that little circular area, maybe?
Yeah.
Or on the door?
That might be a factor.
Okay.
Think about the historical marker. Because even people who aren't going into the house and get a better sense.
Right.
Because ultimately there'll be a marker in front of the barn. So someone can do a walk around and
Right.
understand the significance of the building.
Well, and the other thing that I haven't put in here is like having a white garden, which is really pretty in the moonlight. You know, a butterfly garden, you know, just there's all kinds of different gardens to do within all, you know, areas.
This might be like way further down the road, but are we gonna be putting like little signs and stuff to say like what each thing is, so everybody who walks around knows what that flower is or what that plant is?
I think you should. Yeah.
What that tree is.
We're about to make this place a destination.
It takes a village.
It's fun for kids too. You know, a place that kids can go, because I'm looking at this thing out at the botanical garden. You know, and it's, you know, there's different places to be and it's fun. Kids like to run, of course. But some of them, you know, will really look at stuff and kind of get a wonder or an amazement.
So I'm just looking at the circular space, that surrounds the walkway on
Yeah.
on the front.
Uh-huh.
I feel like a water feature
I know.
is
I would like
trying
it.
to be in the middle of that circle, like a 3-tier fountain.
I mean, we can put one there. Because I just did not have the time. I said I was going to do this months ago. I didn't get that. No.
You're amazing.
It was like, you're meeting at 5:30. I got you. And then I had a plumbing overflow at my house before, right after I talked to my God. But anyway, yeah. And any ideas, suggestions after this, if you send them to Erin or to Rebecca, and then they can send it. Just to put in some color. I mean, these are not real, but.
So, Rebecca, what's the next, just Rebecca? what's the
Yes,
next step
thank
in
you
terms
so much, Rebecca. That was amazing. I think once we have everything sourced and all the details are panned out, we can schedule and we'll be like, who wants to volunteer for this space? And you would maybe know how many hands we'll need. And then for the fruit orchard, I think we should take a similar approach. That was like, whoa, we all got together and knocked it out fast.
Yeah.
So I could see just a blast email. I think we have 1 week's notice for the fruit trees and there are 30 of us.
If you want to, I don't know about, I mean, I'm happy to go walk up and down these streets over here to put signs on people's doors to let them know that. Oh, they won't?
Well, we've been doing email blasts at Loma Vista. So we do have an email that goes out that's bilingual. So that has been
Okay, they do have
distributed.
bilingual.
Yeah,
Okay.
and we've been putting flyers up, but we could definitely up our outreach. I mean, we can invite them to the Earth Day party.
It's true. It's true. Posting on the HEA, there's a listener or a Facebook page. And posting in Spanish. That would be really helpful. That would be really good.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. You know, since you brought up the orchard, why don't we go over that real quick? Are there any more questions for Rebecca? Are we good?
Yeah, and if you have favorite plants or things that you want to see, send them. Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay, just a quick update on the orchard. So, we've had, you know, you can see that the trees are no longer dormant for the most part. One of our concerns is that the irrigation has been infested with fire ants and it's really not working as well as we hope. So there's some trees that may not make it, but we're working with them right now. The next step is that we're going to put in a great big layer, as I said, of mulch. And so hopefully we'll have Jim bring over a dump load and we can just shovel
I
it.
talked about that. There's pros and cons to doing mulch because, like, once again, it's maintenance. And if we put mulch layer all the way down,
No, just kind of see.
just around the trees.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. Well, then we'll put this some around the trees and we can mow the rest of it.
So we could volunteer to help with that.
We also need to go get someone, get a hard rake. Deep rake. There's still a lot of dirt that needs to get back into the hole now that it's settled. And it's also preventing the grass from coming up, so.
So this Saturday, we'll be working on that. And so if anybody wants to come out and talk on that. And also, if you ever feel inspired while you're out walking your dog and you notice that there's some weeds coming up by the tree, feel free to pull them off. Yeah, it's just a cut weed. No. Earlier, it's fine. Around the tree, around the 3 points of perimeter around each tree.
Or if you see some that are wealthy, die because it's on them.
Yeah.
You know, brown leaves, they pour water better than mud. They don't take a bucket over it.
But for the most part, it's looking really great. And the next step in terms of planting is we're going to put in some pomegranates, a row of pomegranates, a row of fig, but fig won't be planting until later in the summer. And I think that's it for that area. Oh, and then we're working on, in the fall, we'll be putting in a row in front of trees in front of the tiny houses themselves. But that's something we're talking about, trees and shrubs and a mix of things. But we'll wait till fall for that.
How many trees will there be once it's totally done?
Don't hold me to it, but about 75.
Woo!
Yeah.
Fun orchard right there.
It is. Yeah. Hi, how are you? Your neighbor's hi.
Yeah, some extra foldy chairs somewhere. Or maybe
Yeah. Oh, and so one thing we did talk about back to the orchard is planting between the trees. And so that we are still determining that strategy because ultimately that whole area is going to be fenced, you know, because all the walkways around the tiny homes will be fenced. And so it could be a place where we put in geese or ducks. But in the interim, it could be wildflowers and strips between the trees that are pollinators. But that's something we can talk about at another meeting. Yeah.
So is the orchard limited to right here, or can we have fruit trees elsewhere in the everywhere?
Yeah.
Too late now, I think, for those.
Yeah, don't put them now.
They just don't thrive at all.
Oh, okay, so that's
winter.
in the fall. So we can put that, in the fall, so
Yeah.
they can put that on the radar
Yeah.
next fall.
Yeah, and so maybe that's a budget item that
Yeah.
we need to put in.
in permaculture, there's a concept called food forestry, and there's just like edible landscaping everywhere. I would love to see more on the founder's side. Right now, we have like, I think 4 fruit trees. And that was like one of our neighbors who used to live here was, you know, Shelby, she's a go-getter. She's like, we are going to get fruit trees. So we just made it happen with a few. But as long as there's no electrical lines or any infrastructure, yes, the more the merrier. Let's do it.
So chalk it in.
Yes. Yeah, maybe we can just kind of dream up where would another spot be. Like by your house would be really good. Yes. Yeah.
And just say,
Yeah.
and just, you know, Scott Roberts loved peach trees and pomegranates.
I like features.
Yeah.
Well,
We talked about oh, there was a massive tree.
And there's room out there, you know, to put the on.
Ooh la la.
Because those are great shade and
Yeah.
you got a big area.
And that does remind me, we had talked about putting a nut orchard at the end of the fruit tree area, but it's been unclear to me where that space is. So
Yeah.
nut trees are important.
Oh, winter plant those.
Yes. Yeah, so we should start thinking about our wish list now,
Yeah.
so that we can put the order in
Yeah.
fall and then start planting November, December, you know, up through February.
Sweet.
And it's also good to start prepping the soil now. One thing
Yeah.
you can do is start prepping the soil, right? You know, put in some compost, put in some wood chips, get all the weeds out, just get that thing ready for get some soil from the farm. Okay. Happy garden. You want to stand over here?
Sure. Okay, so I went to Callahan's and my truck is filled with potting soil. So, woo, we have like 7 raised beds on the founder side, and they've been kind of like dead after that storm. So we were going to purchase pre-planted produce from Skip and Aaron, and then anyone who has free time, I think we could do 5 to 10 volunteers. We'll rip out what's dead or dying. Some stuff can be salvaged, like there's some blackberries. Yes, and some of the stuff is great. Some of it weeds. Yeah.
Yeah, they've been repeated. Yeah.
Yes. So we can take a peek, get some professional feedback, and what isn't being used, let's get some pre-planted produce from the farm that's in season right now. And ideally, we'd have herbs and cilantro and maybe some tomato plants. They were super abundant last year. So we've got the soil.
What do you all want? Who wants tomatoes?
The sulfur garden was released last year.
Yes. Yeah, like they were super abundant in the and the hot peppers. There were, yeah. I just am not sure what survived the freeze. So
Oh, no.
Put in potatoes, peppers, hot peppers, rather than sweet peppers. Yeah, that's the fix of blood growth.
so if we still have sunlight, we could do that possibly tonight.
We got some translate. No, what do you want to do? That's more important to do that. But I do want to show you what you've already done.
Yeah. So should we go to the potatoes for the spiral garden?
Yeah.
Okay. Yay!
Are there any questions, concerns, anything? Yeah.
Okay, so this actually has nothing to do with any of this.
Oh.
But it's important that we ask. We got some hummingbird feeders, which we don't use the red stuff. We make our own sugar water from scratch. And we got a hummingbird in there twice today. So I'm wondering if that is okay, as long as it's not that store-bought red stuff and we're making it like in-house. Yeah? Okay.
Yeah, we should do the birdhouse building event. That's on the calendar. And I'd love to chit chat with you, Scotty.
We hooked them some of the feeders you guys do. So we hung them at the apex so that the things underneath they can fly around because they get territorial, right? You could fly around and do whatever without messing up anything. And we got, I don't know if it's the same one, but we got at least 2 visits today. So I just want to make sure that the sugar water was good as much as it Are they? I think they're Linda's. I'm gonna feel.
I know.
Oh, right, yeah, the nest there.
Still there. That's still there.
I just remember last year at the nest, and you could see the bird in the eggs.
And you volunteered to design and lead a bird house building workshop, yeah?
Yeah.
We'll use the fun events to purchase the materials, and then we can go hang them up when we're done. So it was on topic, Jessica. It was on topic.
Oh, right. I have I'm doing a little fairy house.
It's good luck to have a garden.
Yeah. And it goes with the theme of Swedish, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the Swedish farming, they always invite fairies in and help with cultivating, good luck, and then they bless your harvest essentially. So that's in the works. And maybe in like 2 months after I work it all out, we can have a sit down making fairy houses and maybe bring something like a fun.
Yeah. Well, then, Austin Youth Academy kids are going to start coming once a week through April and May, so they would be very interested to see them.
Oh yeah, it would be a lot of fun.
Yeah. I don't think I mentioned it, but one of the things I wanted to do is promote Swedish culture and maybe have everyone come as a Swede day once a year. Exactly, and so you can be in charge of the menu.
No, it will
We can do the pairing houses, you know, but I think we shall be Swedish for one day since we're in the Bergstrom Farm.
Yeah, of course.
So, and then I want to wrap up by saying, you know, we're gonna celebrate Earth Day next Thursday with a potluck at the farm house. Everyone bring your favorite Earth poem. What the?
Poetry.
Poetry. How about yours?
Poland, we're gonna have a Earth Day some poetry song.
Yes, yes.
Potluck poetry.
And also no plastic. I'm going to be providing metal plates and forks, and so no plastic. So it's a plastic-free event. Oh, and we will be debuting your compost bin band.
It's gorgeous. Reading window. The window that's opening is.
There we go. It's haunted. Okay, so let's
On the other side, of the same running.
yes.
Yes. So that's part of the raised beds as well. When we do the Earth Day event, we'd like to have at least 4 volunteers on the founder side who can kind of alternate the duties and responsibilities. I'm volunteering myself, and basically all you have to do is take the produce scraps and then put the leaves in and make sure there's a good carbon nitrogen. Make sure check the temperature so it's cooking. It's not a huge responsibility, and I think if we can break it up into 7 people or 4 people, we're going to be able to accomplish it no problem. But yeah, there's no reason that our compost has been down for so long. It's time. So Earth Day will be our reveal. Yes. Compost all the things. Make soil. That way I don't have to go to Callahan to buy it. Okay, cool. Should we go see the spirally? The checklist today. Hi, Alex. How are you? Good. Nice to see you. We're gonna go see the spiral garden. Awesome. Wow, this looks so different. You guys are kicking booty. I love the spontaneous order. I was visiting the farm one day and just saw Carrie, Scotty out here totally dominating. Oh,
All right, so I speak up for everyone who hasn't been part of, I guess, the last gardening club meeting. This kind of when we introduced this concept a month ago, was to revive the permaculture garden. And so part of this entailed this used to be a teaching garden for kids, things like that, to introduce the concept of permaculture, which is essentially how can I make the nature do this job for me? So Carrie did all the hard work of digging up the old rocks of the permaculture garden. This used to be a pile of like grass, and all this was buried. Rebuilt it all. We put in some edging here. We put in all this dirt from the old hog pen, so that we're soil from the old hog pen. So it's really nice and rich and ready for some new life. We've had a kind of impromptu meeting with several people that were interested in the permaculture project to kind of workshop out different plants that we can put here that essentially function together and have more than one purpose to, again, how can nature do this job for me, whether it's pest control, pulling nutrients down from the very bottom of the soil up to the top, attracting pollinators, having some herbs and things like that. We brought in a bird bath, so we kind of make a little bird habitat here. So a lot of different things happening. Our next steps are essentially working with Aaron to source the plants. Some plants can be planted right away. Some maybe wait another month or so because they're better in a different season. But ideally, this is going to be kind of an herb garden, spiral garden. We'll have some binding plants like clematis, blackberry, and I believe raspberry along the fence. A lot of different things happening inside this, like there you go. Yeah.
Ferns, right?
No ferns.
No ferns?
No ferns. Ferns are shade plants.
Oh.
A lot of nitrogen producing plants and a lot of pollinators, so that critters will also help maintain a lot of the issuing things. And a lot of plants are going to be for foliage. So like when you cut it, you just leave it on the ground. It's going to help produce carbon and nitrogen so that the roots can take that in also.
Amen.
I'm going to point out, I really love this stone fence.
I'm waiting for you. I was hoping you'd see it later.
For the fairies.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh, look at that. And I'm like, okay, so that's going to be a planter, Brandy's planter. Okay, and then this is, I'm so happy that this thing survived. This, I just threw a seed in the ground. This is a peach tree.
Wow.
And so I'm officially opening this up to the gardening club. When the peaches are ripe, you can have them.
It needs water badly.
Yeah, well, I've been watering it. So yeah, anytime you go by this, please water it. Because we haven't put the irrigation, the soaker hose on yet. So yeah, so this is going to be beautiful. And putting in these railroad ties really makes a difference. And then having this plastic here, we really should edge it with some rocks or something so we don't have to do that. I thought it was just cut off. So we can start planting on Saturday if someone wants to come get started on that. Did you hear me say Saturday?
Saturday!
So we'll get started on Saturday. Any questions? We good? All right,
Ooh, potato time! I've never heard an airplane that loud before. Yeah. Jeez, he's close. Oop, I see ants. Oh, it was a bad day to wear sandals. Yes. Oops. So on Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., the farm stand is just here where all of these benches are. So every Saturday, 10 to 12, you can buy it by the pound. They have a community-supported agriculture program where you get a bag of goodies every weekend, which is a surprise. Or you can go on Facebook and they have a group where they'll say, this week we have this, this, and this, and you can pre-order and they'll get it prepared for you. Nice. Is that an artichoke? Wow.
oh, there's one right
My bad. Gravity. Yeah, I know. I feel so bad for the folks watching from home. I'm the worst videographer.
Yeah, no comment. You know, I've seen some cool equipment that I might have to just invest in. It's okay. We're 6 feet away.
Yeah, I am too. Rebecca talked about lavender. This is what you're thinking about? Lavender.
Oh, out around that.
Well, that's about how close we want it. You don't make a big hedge if it's, you know. If it's
Is that what
small.
lavender looks like? Just naturally?
So,
That's what lavender looks like just now?
No, that's like,
it's a beautiful flower. Purple flower.
some of it is dead. Yeah. But there's
There's
French lavender, Spanish lavender. But it comes in 100.
If anybody watching knows of tripods that I could purchase so it's more stable, like I'm all ears, so just type that on in there. Or if you want to do some research to assist us for the gardening club and shoot over a little link how I can buy one on Amazon. I'm gonna look into it too, don't get me wrong, but the tripods I've been trying aren't really functioning that well. It's a work in progress. Wow, those are Texas size.
Ready when the necks will flop over like that. And then they need to dry it. We need to shut the water off. And then in about a week, take them, and they won't store like this. They have to be really dried out, so they need lots of air. So we could let this dry out some more. Where it breaks like that, we cut it, and that seals up, and then all this gets dried out, and they'll last about 3-4 months. Which is storage onions. Yeah, these are called 10-15. That's when they put them in the ground.
You can type it.
No, this is definitely an onion. Yeah, these are, well, because normally these are dying back.
But I mean, like,
You could now, yeah, but these have to dry out, so they're going to all turn brown. We'll cut. That's why we cut the water off. But yeah, right, you can still use it out now, and we can take one out. Does everyone want one?
Always.
I need an onion.
Everybody grab one.
Alkalize. Onion time. Dennis, get in there.
Did you spend time?
Got a bunch of onions. All right. How do you know if it's ready to go? This one's calling my name. Keep the soil in there. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. This one's not falling over like he said though.
Early so you can use the green.
Gotta keep the dirt.
Sweet. Yay.
Does everybody have one who wants one?
Thank you.
Thank you, Skip.
You want one? Yeah, not these. This is the first harvest of these.
Hey, what's growing back here? Dang, sorry, ADD. Like, oh, a squirrel. I love squirrels.
You can see what happens with potatoes. They weren't all planted at the same depth when you did that. And some of them didn't have eyes on them, maybe, or they were planted too deep. So here, look how big this one is.
Huh. I would think we mainly did this row, if I remember. So that one's doing great, but then the other one's rookies. Potatoes. Last time we had a meeting, we all came out here and planted a few.
So anyway, each one of these now is sending out roots. Each one, at the end of it will have a little tomato. Tomato, yeah. That'll be good. Tomato. Right here, we have composting. Okay, we can walk over here now. Actually, do you have any questions? Potato, yeah. They have about from here, fucking a foot of here, but they need to be about this tall, fruit, flowers, and then that's about the time we start to dye that. So about 4 weeks from now. Okay, over here. My sneakers. You'll notice the windmill, we went up there and tied it down. Has anybody heard it?
No?
Well, that's one way to fix it.
Was it squeaking? Yeah. Oh, wow. This is great.
So this was really risky. I wouldn't have done this. Well, not that, but these grow so fast that it's probably shaded before they even get big enough. It's rare. Somebody did it, and they're gonna have to make sure they will survive. But anyway, these look how great these are doing. These need to be trellised, so we'll take some tomatoes.
Nice. There's your salsa.
And go back and forth through here. Both sides, so cradle. Okay. And we'll do it. The one will be out here. And about this week, they'll go higher. We'll do it here. Sometimes we can do them here. Otherwise, they flop over into the rows. You can't even get to them. They touch the ground, and that means they're going to get more rough on them. You get the wet summer. This makes it really easy to harvest too, and they just get more sun. Because if they flop over, they're not going to ripen very well. So we have 3 different varieties right here. One's a slicer, one is a gold, and a cherry, black trim cherry. So 3 different varieties right here. And over there are 3 varieties of peppers. Why are we keeping the peppers and the tomatoes together?
Companion planting.
No.
I was testing you. Just kidding. That was my guess.
Yeah. Why?
The insects don't like tomatoes.
Well, they have that. They
They have a
resist a lot
waxy
of bugs
layer.
because of
Do
peppers.
they call them nightshades?
Exactly.
Oh, ding, ding, ding. Nice word.
Right? Well, nightshade family. Eggplant. What else?
Potatoes?
Potatoes. So, no. Anyway, that we all want to keep all the families together because all the bugs that like that family, we don't want them in the same place. They like other things. So we're going to get, there's some very cool bugs on tomatoes. Peppers hardly have any, which is great, but they do have some. So we'll have to keep looking for the biggest one that we're going to have to look for is what? It's about this big. No, this big. Now, as
Caterpillar.
thick as my thumb.
Beetle.
No,
Earthworms.
no. It's huge. They're huge. They'll eat it all down in one day. Tomato hornworm. It's got a big horn. We talked about this lettuce, but it's a risk because it'll probably get too big before the lettuce is actually big enough. And we'll shade it too much. But it might work. We'll see. So, any questions? Concerns? Well, good. Well, why don't we go down this way? Eric can tell you a little what's happening in the flower.
Yay, flowers! 'Tis the season. Nice job on the nightshade. I need to borrow one of those gardening books. Do a little light reading.
I better put mine at I didn't pull them yet. I'm ready to eat them.
Yes, dinner time. Woo. This is the flower fields. Got this natural tree line. Well, thanks y'all for watching. We're going to do Gardening Club the second Wednesday of every month. So be sure to tune in next month as well. And as we have our volunteer events over the course of this month, we will definitely document and take there's a little bridge. Take photos and videos and show y'all all the progress. Okay, we're pretty much wrapping up at this point. We're gonna get a photo with our onions and then call that a meeting. Thanks y'all for tuning in. Sorry about my horrible videography skills, and I will work on that, I promise. Okay, bye. Have a good night.